Redding from the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary here in Marathon, Florida. As you can see, here in the Florida Keys, we have the most beautiful waters in the United States. This is the Caribbean of the United States, and this is why tourists come all year round here to enjoy fishing, boating, snorkeling, and scuba diving. The purpose of this video is to increase boating awareness and to educate people coming into the area who are unfamiliar with these waters, and hopefully the number of boating accidents will go down. The two main reasons for boating accidents is number one, operator inexperience, and number two, collision with fixed objects. Therefore, it's very important to be able to know and use your GPS and to know your tide charts, because many tourists come down here, they get lost, and they go aground.
Let's talk life jackets, or life vests as they may be called. The first thing to remember is there should be, or there shall be, a Coast Guard approved life vest for everybody on board your boat. The next thing to remember is if you aren't wearing your life vest, or your crew aren't wearing their vests, they must be readily available. Now, there are some specific regulations that apply to children and their life vests. If you're operating your boat on federal waters while underway, children 12 years or younger shall be wearing their vest. If you're operating on state waters on a boat 26 feet or less while underway, your children must also be wearing a vest if they're younger than 6. Now, the vest for children has got to be properly fitting. And the way to determine this is once you've put the vest on the child, you can lift the child up by holding onto the vest and picking them up. Ma'am, that's a child's life vest. You need to get one for an adult. Now, there are also some other requirements. If you're operating a personal watercraft, you need to be wearing the appropriate vest. And if you're skiing or being towed on a tow toy, you should also be wearing a vest. Now, for boats that are greater than 16 feet in length, you need to have a throwable safety cushion. That thing should be immediately available, so if somebody goes overboard, you can throw it to them and they may be able to reach it. If you don't know how to swim, or your children don't know how to swim, make sure they're wearing that vest at all times. If you go overboard, you may not be able to survive. The boat can't get back to you quick enough to save you. Another important tip is if there's thunderstorm activity around, make sure you put on your vest, because a leading cause of deaths associated with lightning activity on the water is people being knocked unconscious by a nearby strike and falling overboard.
Officer Snook is going to help me tell you about anchoring. If you take your boat out and you want to stay in one particular spot, you're going to need to put an anchor down. This is one of the more common anchors here in the Florida Keys. It's a Danford anchor. And you will want to put it down. You will point your boat into the wind, let the anchor down to the water line, let the line out, and then back the boat up so that the pointy part of the anchor is going to dig in and hold your boat. How you figure out how much line to use is going to depend on the wind, the current, but we would recommend at least a 1 to 7. And what that means is that if you are in 20 feet of water, you're going to want to put out 7 times that amount of line to hold your boat. You also need to think about how high the boat is from the water. You're always going to anchor from the bow. Never, 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 never from the stern.
All right, this is a little tutorial about kayaking in the Keys. First thing you want to have is a life preserver. You should have a dry bag for some of your stuff, including a separate dry bag for your cell phone, which is always a good idea. Okay? I also have in here some foul weather gear in case it starts to get rainy or something, so I don't get cold and wet. So that's always a good idea. And then you can pack your lunch or you know, your towels and stuff like that if you want. It's also a good idea to maybe have a little first aid kit. The other thing that's important is, particularly with an open kayak like this as opposed to a sit on top, obviously if you swamp this kayak, you're going to be in very, very serious trouble, and you have to be able to empty your kayak. Have a whistle. Some of the things you should do if you have a kayaking buddy is to practice, if you did swamp your boat, to first of all bail it out, because any amount of water in a kayak makes it pretty much unstable. So practice with your buddy getting in and out of the boat, and also you should practice getting in and out of it by yourself, and usually that involves coming up over the stern, but that's something you have to practice, and obviously practice in shallow water. So be safe and have fun.
This is a dive flag, and if you plan to get out of the boat and into the water, you need to be familiar with this. This is 20 by 20, what the state requires for you to use. It's to be displayed at the highest point on your boat, not down on the gunnel, not in the back, but at the highest point of your boat. And what this tells other boaters is that they must stay 300 feet away from your boat, because you might be under the water and you want to be protected from a boat coming by. It's one of the major causes of accidents of people in the water is getting hit by other boats. This dive flag is one that you would attach to your ankle or your wrist, and it would float along in the water with you. So if you get away from your boat, you can still be located. The important thing about dive flags is the highest point in your boat is where they're displayed, and when your boat is not stationary, when you're in motion, the flag comes off the boat and stays down on the deck. So the flag is up, highest point, the flag is down if you're moving.
Hi everyone! It's really a good idea to have a daily float plan. Before heading out each day, email or text a family member or a friend of your plans. Take a picture of the boat. Name everyone on board. Mention where you're headed, and most important, what time you're due in. Make sure to contact your family or friend when you do get back in. If your contact hasn't heard from you that you're home safe and they can't reach you, a search and rescue can be started much quicker this way. Be safe.
Most people come down here to the Florida Keys waters and operate a boat to do some kind of on-water fishing. Now, whether it's lobstering with a bully net or a tickle stick and a net, or whether it's spear fishing, or whether you're out there fishing with rod and reel, hook and line. The thing to remember is that most people need to get a fishing license. Now there are a couple of exceptions, and the two major ones are children 16 years of age or younger do not need a license, and Florida residents who are senior citizens 65 years or older do not need a license. Now when it comes to fishing, there are a whole lot of regulations about the size that a fish must be before you can keep it, and also how many of a particular type you can keep. So please get a copy of the fishing regulations and make sure you know what you're doing. Measure your fish, know how to measure it, and know your limits.
If you want to be a cowboy, go to a dude ranch, not in a boat. Rent a horse. I'm the Marine Safety Officer for Marathon Flotilla 13-2, the Marathon. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about safety. Your rental companies, when they supply you with a boat, it's going to be clean and it's going to have all the safety equipment on it. And the way you are going to know that they have had this all done is you will check on the port side of your boat and you will see this sticker. This sticker means that the Coast Guard Auxiliary has gone and done a vessel safety check on this boat, and they checked off every piece of equipment. So you know you have everything on the boat that you will need out there in the water.
We want everyone to have fun in the sun, so we recommend the following: wearing a hat or a visor, polarized sunglasses, brightly covered sun protection clothing, especially when you're on a kayak or a paddleboard, a buff for your face and neck, and waterproof shoes. Do yourself a favor, keep your cell phone and ID in a dry bag. Most of these you can take pictures and use as a phone or GPS while it's in the bag. Have a simple first aid kit which includes some type of sting kill and also aloe vera for bites and for sunburn. You may also want to include some type of seasick prevention, simple ginger or mints, peppermints. Remember to drink a lot of water and please consume alcohol responsibly. Have fun.
We hope that you've enjoyed this video. We sure enjoyed making it, and hopefully now you'll be better educated and safer out on the waters. And if anybody's interested in joining the Coast Guard Auxiliary, go to www.cgaux.org.
Stay safe.